Well, hey there everyone. So, welcome back to part 2 of Bilbo's costume construction. So last week I did the shirt and I did the red jacket. And then this week I'm going to be doing his green vest and his pants. The Hobbit ears that I ordered came in, as well as the suspenders, so those are going to be part of the costume as well. And then I kind of was just going to do his costume, and then I decided to do his accessories as well. So the backpack that he has on and a walking stick. So for the backpack, I just found a leather press that I have, and I just kind of stuffed it with material, and then I put a little green rolled up material on the lid so it looks like his backpack with the blanket hanging out. So I have that for an accessory, and then for the walking stick I will show the construction of that. I basically just found a stick, sanded it down, stained it, and then I tried some spray gloss that didn't really work, so I'm just gonna have to varnish it later, but for the sake of the video and for pictures, that'll do. So for the pants, the material that I picked up from Goodwill, I'd actually picked up for the purpose of a vest, and there were 2 curtains. So they were curtains, and there were 2 of them there, and I only picked up one because I thought I was only going to make a vest. And then I was like, you know what? These are actually kind of like the right texture for Bilbo's pants. So I ended up going back to Goodwill. Thankfully the second curtain was still there, and so I picked up that curtain. Yes, Bilbo's pants are a little bit more brown, but you know, I didn't feel like dyeing it, and this material is just fine. So those are what I have for the pants. They're nice and thick, like almost, you know, corduroy, because I know that his pants are corduroy, but this will do. And then for the vest, so I originally had picked up a green curtain, but it was just the only green that was there at Goodwill at the time, and I just did not like it. I was gonna use it, it was too green though, so it was bothering me a lot. And so when I went back to go pick up that second curtain, we ended up going out to a different Goodwill, and I lucked out. I found these pillowcases. I thought there was gonna be nothing there. I looked in the sheets, I looked in the material, I looked in the tablecloths. I was like, oh, there's gonna be no green here, is there? And then I was like, you know, I don't need a lot for this vest. So I ended up going and looking in the pillowcases, and thankfully I found 2 pillowcases of this great texture, this great green, and I have that. And then I just have for the lining a generic green material just for the lining. So that worked out really well. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the last elements this week, and then the outfit will be done and you get to see the reveal in this video. If you stuck around to this video, thank you so much. I hope you like the result because it's a doozy. Anyway, let's get to some sewing. So the pattern that I used loosely for these pants is Butterick 3474. So basically I just used it as a template, and I had to make it much bigger because I'd gotten this back from Goodwill, and it was a smaller size than I needed, so I just extended it at the hips and at the legs, and then I shortened it because these are obviously Hobbit pants, and I did not add that zipper flap. So the reason I'm cutting it so far away from the pattern is again just to make it more my size and fit me better. After you cut out the material, you just place one of the backs and one of the fronts together and sew it together underneath the crotch line. Once those are all sewn together, you just lay the 2 pieces you have right sides together and sew it together at that U, which makes the crotch. After that, you go ahead and sew the side of the legs together. So what I'm doing is I'm pinning it quite a distance away from the edge because I'm sewing it to more my body type. So I gave myself ample amount of room to sew to whatever size that I needed it to. After it's all fitted to me, I went ahead and pleated it in the front and the back just to fit my waist better. So I did 2 pleats in the front and then 4 pleats in the back. After that, I sewed it down about 1 inch on the pleat just to keep it secured. Now it's time for the waistband. I cut this on a fold and I basically just cut out a big rectangle, giving me, after ironing and folding it, about 2 inches for my waistband. After I ironed it, I just went ahead and sandwiched it on top of the pants and I just sewed right on top. Lastly, I just sewed in the zipper and then hemmed the pants and they were done. Now for Bilbo's vest, I went ahead and went back to my trusty old corset pattern and I just kind of traced out the shape that he has. You see that he has a rounded bottom of his vest, so I went ahead and I made sure I got that. And I just made it a little bit longer than what I'm used to, just because this is supposed to be more of a masculine or a male vest pattern. So that's what I did for the front. And then the back, it's just a pretty generic back. I made it pretty high because that's what his vest does, and I just made it a little bit longer to match the front. Now I did make a quick mock-up for this just because I wasn't sure how well it was going to fit, so I just cut the 2 pieces out of some sheet material and I sewed those together just to see if it worked, and it did. So after that I went ahead and started to cut out my green material. So I placed them on these pillowcases that I found at Goodwill, and I just cut out the front and the back pieces. Since this pillowcase is 2 layers, I just went ahead and cut out the lining out of the pillowcase, and for the front I only cut out the 2 outer pieces, and then I used a different green material to cut out the lining pieces. Once you have them all cut out and ironed, you just go ahead and pin the 2 front bodice pieces to the back of the bodice. And you do that with both the lining and the outer fabric. After that, you have those 2 pieces, you lay them out and you put them together, right sides together. Now usually when I sew a corset like this, I sew everything but the bottom around the edges, but since this has a curved bottom and I'm not adding a bias tape, I only put a little section in the back that I'm not going to sew, and everything else is going to be sewn around. So I can just use that little gap there to reach in and turn it right sides out. And then once I'm done with that, I will just fold the edges in and top stitch that little section to close it up. After you've sewn those 2 pieces together, go ahead and trim around the edges. Now you can see that we are using that little gap to reach in and just pull everything out, and then make sure you use a chopstick just to get those corners out, and then go ahead and iron it all flat. Once it's all ironed, I'm just going to put it right sides together and sew the arms together. The next step is to add your buttons and buttonholes. Now it was time to add the pockets. So I did just go onto YouTube and search up a tutorial on how to do vest pockets. So if you need to see that, just go ahead and do the same. This isn't going to be a very good explanation. So pretty much I'm just drawing a little rectangle on each side of the vest. And then I'm going to cut out 4 squares, and then 2 of the squares are going to get the same measurements of those little rectangles, and then you're going to line them up and then put them on top of each other and sew around that little drawn on rectangle. Once you do that, you're just gonna cut down the center of that little rectangle, making the 2 points on the end, and then you're gonna take that little square and bring it onto the inside of the vest. Once you do that, you go ahead and iron it, and then you bring up the little pocket up to the edge of the rectangle. Then that's sewn at the sides, and then you just go ahead and put your second square on top of that little rectangle, and you sew around that. Once you sew around that, you just go ahead and trim it, and you have your pocket. So this is the stick that I chose for my walking stick. I've already cut it down to the height that I would like it. So after you sand it, you're just gonna go ahead and I just added some stain to it, and then after you do that, I just added some spray gloss. I wanted to add varnish, but it was a little too late to do that. So I might do that later, and then so once you gloss it, your stick is pretty much done. So here is my finished walking stick, and then a comparison of the end that I had cut off of it, so what it looks like before and after. Okay, so here we are. I am extremely happy with how all of this looks. I actually look like a hobbit, especially with my crazy poofy hair that I just like pinned up every which way just to get it to shape any way that I want it to. And then with the ears and everything, I think it looks pretty good. And just like the fact that this is like a literal pillowcase, this is a sheet, these are curtains, this was material I had from Goodwill. Like, this worked out better than I could have ever imagined it would, and I'm very happy about that. Getting my hobbit hair in my eyes. Yeah, so this is the look. Sorry that this was a two-parter, but I just didn't have enough time to do everything, and with the extra time I was able to make this walking stick that I have. No, it's too far. I was able to make the walking stick that I have, so it was just an old stick that I found out in the yard, and I sanded it and stained it and cut it to the length that I wanted to. So I'm very happy with that. I'm also very happy with this contraption. This is actually a purse that I had from a bit ago, and I thought I got rid of it, but I didn't. And then I just like moved the straps from over here to over here so that it fit, and then did the trick where you make a purse a backpack. And I just shoved some green material up there to make it look like they're blankets that they have. So all together, I think this was a very successful cosplay costume thing. I'm very happy that I was able to do this week instead of just another simple dress. I do like doing those dresses and skirts and outfits for the fall, but I really missed dressing up to look like a character. So I'm glad I got to do this week. So if I end up doing more, it may or may not have to be a two-parter, depending on how crazy my weeks are. But if you stuck around this far, then I'm glad you got to see the look, or whatever. So yeah, I think the shirt turned out really good. Obviously not exact, but I do like the style, and I can use it for other things. These just need to be buttoned. I really like how the vest turned out. I was not expecting it to. I did do a mock-up for it, just to make sure the armholes fit and everything, and it ended up working. So I just went straight for it, and that turned out really good. I do have a very short torso, so it's a lot shorter than Bilbo's. And then with the jacket, I know it's supposed to be like much longer, but I literally only had this much corduroy. So, but I mean, considering how much material I had left and literally the scraps that I was using to finish this, I think it turned out really good. I'm really happy with that. And then the pants, they're pants. They're a good length, they're the right material, and then I have the suspenders to hold them up. I purposefully made them a little bit loose so the suspenders could hold them up, because a lot of hobbits don't have like tight pants. So I think that all together just turned out really good. Where do I wear this? I want to wear this somewhere so I can look cool. Can't just wear this to the grocery store. Or can I? If you liked what I did, go ahead and like and subscribe. I post most Fridays, mostly at noon, and I'll see you next week. Thank you for watching.